Hi everyone, BadWolf here. I've decided to do kind of a different sort of video than what I've done in the past. In the past, all of my videos have been, very fully scripted. I know exactly what I'm going to say when I record it. But this one I'm doing improvisational, and this is to get me back into the habit of actually uploading on a regular schedule, because I have this problem where I'll write a script for a video and then it'll just, sit on my computer and I won't actually make the video that goes along with it. So this is to kind of force me to get back into the habit of regular uploads, and I feel like by skipping that step, I'll be able to do that more easily. So with that out of the way, this is me ranking Doctor Who's missing episodes by how much I want them to be recovered. So I realize this is an arbitrary sort of video, and it's, solely my opinion as opposed to a lot of my other videos which were more fact-based. But this one is, something I feel like I could talk about all day, so I thought it would be a good topic for a video. Anyway, you've probably heard me ramble enough by now, so let's get to actually sorting these episodes. So I'm going to do these in order. And so first up is Marco Polo. That's the earliest story that no longer exists in the BBC archives. And I'm going to put this one real high up on the list, up in the S tier, because this is a historically significant episode. It's hailed by many as one of the all-time greats. I know it's a little controversial, but a lot of people really, really like this serial. It's the only serial of Season 1 of Doctor Who that's completely missing, other than The Reign of Terror, which has 2 of its episodes missing. So having that almost complete Season 1 of Doctor Who would be a huge, huge deal. So Marco Polo is a story that I would really like to see come back to the archives. Speaking of The Reign of Terror, that one's next. And I'm going to put this one also kind of high. I don't know, A or B. I think I'll go with B for now. Just because, we already have the animation of it. It's an okay serial, but again, the historicals, in my opinion, tend to be on the more boring side of things. So I'm not as interested in Reign of Terror as I am some of the other ones. And again, we have the animation. And it's only 2 of the, I believe, 6 or maybe 7 episodes. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many that one is. But, Reign of Terror, I'll put in B tier, I guess. The Crusade, also going to put it in B tier. It's kind of just a pretty average story. But, that kind of brings me to an interesting point. Judging these stories based on their existing material and everything is a little bit different, because as I know in the case of like Enemy of the World and Web of Fear, stories that were recovered recently, they were regarded pretty, mediocre by fans until they were rediscovered, and now like Enemy of the World was considered, pretty weak by most people, and now it's like considered one of the best 60s stories by a lot of people. So that's kind of an interesting effect here. So anyway, that little tangent aside, Crusade, just kind of average. I'll put it right in B tier, I guess. Galaxy 4. Well, Galaxy 4 has one of its 4 episodes already existing, so it's kind of... I'll put this one in A, I guess. I know that's going to be controversial. A lot of people don't like this serial, but, I do have sort of a weakness for the Chumblies, I'll admit. They're just weird and interesting. And, Galaxy 4 I'll put in A. Mission to the Unknown. I'm also going to put this one in A. This would probably go in S if we didn't have that fantastic student-made recreation of it from a couple of years ago, which is honestly fantastic, like I say, and I could honestly watch that and believe that I'm watching Mission to the Unknown as it aired in 1965. Next is The Mythmakers. I don't know. I'll put this in B. It's an interesting sort of... I put this in because it kind of has this weird bridging of the gap between Mission to the Unknown and Dalek's Master Plan. Because, we get to introduced to Katarina and everything, and so that kind of makes it significant to the following story, but it doesn't ultimately matter in the grand scheme of things. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just not one of the stories that I'm most interested in. Okay, the Daleks' Master Plan. Again, this is going in S tier. Not only is this, a significant story in that, it's a Dalek story, it's one of the longest serials ever, it's widely hailed by a lot of people, and, just if the Daleks' Master Plan were to magically be recovered, it would be, if we recovered all of it, that would be, like, the largest single amount of episodes we could recover by restoring one story, so I'm gonna go with that. The Massacre. B, I guess. I don't really have a lot to say about the Massacre. I know I haven't put anything in the low tier yet, which is kind of interesting, so I guess Celestial Toymaker is B as well. I get the feeling Celestial Toymaker is one of those ones like Enemy of the World where if it was recovered, people's opinions of it would improve significantly, but it also does have the weird racist content to it that hasn't aged well. So, I don't know what to make of the Celestial Toymaker. The Savages, not really too interested in that. I mean, it does have a interesting premise going on, but doesn't do a whole lot for me. Same goes with the Smugglers. I'll put Smugglers in D. Like, I can honestly completely take or leave the Smugglers. The 10th Planet, I'm going to be a little controversial. I'm only going to put this in A, because it's only one missing episode out of the 4 of them. And albeit, yes, that missing episode, number 4, is, very significant because it's the final episode of the first Doctor. But, ultimately, I feel like we have a good picture of what 10th Planet is like already. And, despite the significance of that last episode, we have the actual clip of the regeneration itself, or at least most of it. So, I don't feel that it's quite S-tier worthy. But speaking of S-tier, The Power of the Daleks. Yes, Power of the Daleks is probably my number 1 most wanted story to be recovered. I mean, we have the fantastic animation of it, don't get me wrong, and as much as I like watching that, I watched that and I can only imagine what this would look like if it were, the real live-action version as filmed in 1966. Again, it's the second Doctor's first story, it's a great Dalek story. Probably a few people will disagree with me that this is one of the most wanted lost episodes. The Highlanders. The only thing the Highlanders has going for it is the introduction of Jamie, who is, one of the most important companions, especially to the Second Doctor's era, because he sticks around. This is the Second Doctor's second story, and he sticks around all the way to the end. So, Jamie's important, but the story itself, I'll put it in C, I guess. Jamie's the only thing stopping this from being a D tier. Honestly, there's nothing too great about the rest of the story, in my opinion. The Underwater Menace also is C, I guess. I mean, we have the existing episodes of it, and there's that, widely panned telesnap recreation on the DVD. And it's just not awful or anything. I'm not super interested in seeing it come back. Moonbase I'm going to put in B tier. It's kind of it's a story that, it's the second Cybermen story after 10th Planet, but it doesn't really do a lot with the Cybermen, at least as a concept. They could just be, any generic robots in the Moonbase, to be quite honest. The Macra Terror. Now, this is a story that I didn't rank very highly previously, but after seeing the animation of it, especially with how well it was done, I put it a lot more highly, so I'm going to put that in A. That's a relatively recent change. I didn't regard the Macra Terror nearly as highly as I once did, so that's a recent change of opinion for me. The Faceless Ones. Again, B, I guess. It's a cool story with, it was rare to see Doctor Who of this era take place in the modern day, and that's something that I always thought was interesting about the Faceless Ones. The Ice Warriors. I don't know where to put this one. I guess maybe C, because we have a good chunk of the story already. It's 5 episodes, and we have all but 3 and 4, I believe. Or no, 2 and 3 are missing, my bad. So I would like to... I mean, we have a good chunk of the story already, and those missing 2 and 3 have been animated. So while it's a good story and I'd like to see it come back, it's not very high priority to me. Evil of the Daleks. Again, this one goes in S tier. I know that might be a little bit of Dalek favoritism, but, it's another very significant story. It's one that is, a big, long Dalek story, and, it's, again, highly regarded. Abominable Snowman I'm going to put in A, simply because, having the Web of Fear back, I want to have, the other Yeti story be complete and have both of them together finally. Fury from the Deep is a story I don't know a great deal about, but I guess I should be fair then and put it just in B, so it's kind of middle of the pack. The Wheel in Space, I'm going to go with A. Again, it could be a better story, but, I love me some Cybermen. I know I put the Moon Base down in B, but, it'd be nice to have the Cybermen together, and because this one isn't animated yet, it would be good to have that one come back, because it would complete all of the Cybermen stories, either in actual recovery or in animation. The Invasion, again, I love me some Cybermen, so I'm going to put that in A. It's a good story. I know we have the animation already, but, and we have a good chunk of it. But I still really would like this one. And finally, the Space Pirates. That, unfortunately, our last story brings up the bottom of the pack and goes in the D tier. It's cliche to say, but, the Space Pirates is, a very weak story, not super beloved by anybody. I don't think anybody is super eager to see it come back. Not to say that, they would, leave it missing if they could, but I think it's pretty low on a lot of people's lists of stories they'd want recovered. Although I do think that's another candidate for the effect of people's opinions of a story improving once it gets recovered. So that does it for the missing episode tier list, at least for the order that I want them recovered. I do want to say, though, that this is just, again, my opinion, and honestly, any missing episode recoveries, especially as these are getting on toward 60 years ago, would be, amazing. It's, the amount of episodes that still exist out there is, probably pretty small. And so having any of them recovered would be, amazing things. There's not any episodes that I would turn my nose up at. Like, even if these D tier ones, the Space Pirates and the Smugglers, if those, happen to turn up tomorrow, I wouldn't, turn my nose up at them and say, oh, get out of here, give me Power of the Daleks instead. I'd be, pretty happy with any episodes being recovered. So, that's what I have to say on the subject. I'm sure that, I'll have a lot of interesting comments on this one because this is my first opinion-based video, so do you agree with my ranking? Do you disagree? Anything you would put in a different tier? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, thanks for listening to what I have to say, and have a great day.